Welcome back to Low Stress Math with Mrs. Bono. Today we're going to go over pages 9 and 10, the try it problems. They're not as hard as you think they are. So let's dive in and do some practice. I'm looking at the first problem on page 9, and it has 1 in y equals mx plus b form, and it has a second one that's not in y equals mx plus b form. So let's deal with the harder problem first. So I am just going to rewrite that over here. Negative 4x plus y equals 1. And to get that into the right form, I have to move the 4x away from the y. There's a plus symbol here, so the opposite of plus would be minus, right? Except that this is a negative 4x. And the opposite of negative 4x is positive 4x. So to move this from this side to the opposite side, to go over that equal sign, I have to do the opposite operation. And the opposite of negative is positive, so I'm going to put a positive 4x on this side. So 4x and negative 4x is 0. Bring down the y, and now you have a choice. Because it's positive, there's this thing called the commutative property. You may remember it, you may not, but it means when you're adding things, you can put them in any order you want. So I could put 4x first, which I'm going to do because I like things in y equals mx plus b form. But either way, you end up with the same equation. So let's write that down. 4x plus 1. Now underneath that, I am going to grab my favorite green pen. Come here, green. And y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. So I'm going to begin at the b, at the back of the equation, with 1. b equals 1. And what does that mean? Y-intercept. It means that this line is going to intercept this line at 1. So I like to make my, where'd you go? Yes, here we go. I like to highlight in yellow my y-intercept. Why yellow? Because yellow begins with y, and it's a y-intercept. So I'm going to put this B1 right there. So here we go, B1. Now, in order to continue graphing, I need to put more points on here. So I'm going to use the M, which is 4, and I'm going to put that over 1, and now I can put more points. How? Rise over run. 4 is the rise over 1, which is the run. So I'm going to rise and run 4. So starting from this point, count up 4 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 to the right. Okay, that's fantastic. Look at that. Now I have 2 points. I could actually graph a line from just 2 points. Or I could put more points. So, for more points, you're going to do the opposite. What do I mean by that? Well, the opposite of rise is to go down. So I'm going to do 4 down. But if I do the opposite of rise, I have to do the opposite of run. And the opposite of run now is to go 1 left. So I'm going to take this, start at the same spot, and count down 4 boxes and 1 to the left. Down 4 boxes, there's 4 boxes, 1 to the left. And now I have points all the way across my grid, coordinate plane, and I can graph the line. The grid is the background, the graph is the line. Be careful about that. They call it graph paper because you're graphing lines on the paper, but it's really a coordinate plane or a grid. So here's my nice line, and that one's done. Now switch pens. Grab that red pen, and we're going to do the second equation, which is y equals 1/2, negative 1/2 x plus 1. y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. Oh, look at that. It has the same y-intercept. If I put my y equals mx plus b underneath here, b here is 1. B equals 1. And that means I'm starting at 1. And then my slope m is, and this is the hard part, negative 1/2. And what that means is I am going to rise 1, but because it's negative, I have to go left. And be careful, don't lose that negative sign. So let's start. I'm going to start at b equals 1, up, same spot. And I'm going to rise 1 and go left 2. Rise 1 and go left 2. I could do that all the way across. Or I could say I want more points, and that would mean that I go 1, and the opposite of rise is still go down, but now the opposite of left is right, so run right. So more points. Go down 1, 2 to the right, down 1, 2 to the right, all the way across the whole grid. Look at that. Got a nice line there. So we're going to play connect the dots. Here we go. Connecting all these dots. I'm going to put an arrow on each side. And I have to write the equations on both of the lines. So the red equation was the second one. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. And now see, it's going down. That's how I know it's negative, it's going down. But this one is going up, and it starts with, starts with a negative. Now that's odd. Wait, it's on the same side as the y. You have to write the original equations. So I can't write this one that I wrote, which has positive 4x plus 1. I have to go back and I have to write this one, negative 4x plus y equals 1. I have to write that. Why? I don't know, because that's the rules. But what's the more important part of this? Well, that's going to be my answer. What's the answer? So, in order to make it obvious that I'm solving this and I have a solution, I'm going to circle the solution, which is the point where the two lines cross. I'm going to write the word solution, which makes it nice and easy to see, but I also highlighted it because I want to highlight this point. And what is this point? Well, it's not going right or left, so it's 0 right or left, but it's going up 1, so 0, 1. Those are the coordinates for this point. Now you could write it like this. X equals 0, y equals 1, and call that a solution, because that's a different way to write the same solution. But in general, I like to write it as a coordinate pair with the x first and then the y. Okay, let's take a look at the next two problems. I like these so much better. Why, Bono? Why do you like these? Because somebody graphed it for me. And lazy Bono doesn't have to graph anything if somebody else did the graphing for me. All I have to do is circle where the two lines meet, and then I put in the coordinates for the solution. I don't even have to write down what the equations are or anything. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the x line, and 1, 2, 3 in the y direction. So 4, 3. For this one, 1 in the x direction, and 1, 2, negative 3 for the y direction. Now, important parts. You have to have a comma and parentheses in order for it to be a solution. If all you do is write down the numbers, you're wrong. I love you, but you're wrong. Okay, let's take a look at the next page. Dun, 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 dun. One problem, but a mess of a problem. Look at this first problem. That's not y equals mx plus b. That's all kinds of crazy nonsense. So let's rewrite it. 3x plus 4y equals 12. Now I want to move the 3x to the opposite side, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Oh darn, I made it so there's not enough room here. So you know what, I'm just going to move things over. I'm going to move the 4x and the equal sign over. This is 0. Bye. 4y equals, I'm going to put the negative 3x first, plus 12. Why? Because that's y equals mx plus b form, which is the goal of this. So now I gotta, this is 4 times y. The opposite of times 4 is divide by 4. So I'm gonna divide that by 4. But then I have to divide everybody by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, 1y. Negative 3 divided by 4 is negative 3 over 4x plus 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now I have this in y equals mx plus b form. Yay! I have m at negative 3/4 and b at 3. I'm going to begin at the back at the b, 3. So b equals 3. Now I have the slope m equals negative 3/4. What on earth are we doing with that, Bono? Well, it's always rise over run, so this is going to rise 3, but because it's negative, I'm going to run left. So let's start doing that. We're going to, I apologize, we're going to begin at the B, which is 3. Now, you know, I like to put a yellow on the Y because, you know, yellow starts with Y. And the y-intercept to remind me to begin with this 3 on this yellow line. There we go, 3. Now, negative 3/4. I'm going to rise 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rise 3, 1, 2. Ugh, I can't do that. So now, more points. How do you get more points? You do the opposite operation to get more points. So it's negative 3/4, but instead of rise, I'm going to go down. Instead of left, I'm going to run right. You have to do the complete opposite to get more points. So I'm going to go 3 down, 1, 2, 3, and 4 right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, right, 1, 2, 3. And there's all my points all the way across the grid. So connect the dots and graph your line on the grid. Here we go. Arrows. And let's look at that. Now I have to do this one. This is already in y equals mx plus b form. So that makes it easier. I'm going to begin at the back at the b, which is, wait a second, what happened here? Begin at the back at the b, which is 3. Okay, so I'm starting here. And then my m is negative 3/4. So wait a second, that's the same exact thing, isn't it? So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put it through the same points, just a little bit lower, and I'm going to put the red line right on top of this black line. And I'm going to put an extra red arrow and an extra red arrow and make it really obvious that I have both lines graphed through the same points, because these lines are exactly the same. So I'll explain that a little in a second after I write the equations. So this is the red equation. Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 3. And you have to write the original equation. 3x plus 4y equals 12 on the black line, but it's the same line. When it's the same line, that means that there are infinitely many solutions. That's the answer to this. That's getting a puffy cloud of happiness, which we haven't had in a while. We need a puffy cloud of happiness. Yeah, so every single point on this line is a solution to both of these equations. Hey, that's pretty cool, huh? Have a great day. I will talk to you again soon. Bye.